Good day to all dignitaries, jurors, and participants. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am architect Sahil Pahal, Assistant Professor in Faculty of Planning and Architecture of Pandit Lakhmi State University of Performing and Visual Arts, which is located in city of Rohtak, Haryana. This paper is written by myself and my friend Qurnain Rashid, who is also the first author of this paper. She couldn't able to join us for the presentation due to some unavoidable circumstances. I would also like to thank Urban Village Charitable Trust, National Institute of Urban Affairs, Faculty of Architecture and Acoustics of Jamia Millia Islamia University, Council of Architecture, and last but not least, Scopus for providing us this opportunity. Without wasting time, let me introduce the topic of our paper. We have worked on assessing the tourism potential of Kalu Sarai Urban Village. We all know that Delhi played an important part in the glorious history of India. Delhi is one of the best cities for a heritage tour in India. The city has witnessed many kingdoms and different rulers who painted this city's canvas with their own ideologies and monuments. This city has a plethora to offer to its visitors who came here with an appetite to satiate on country's glorious history. Delhi alone caters to 30% of the tourists that visit India annually. However, the tourist potential of some parts of the cities are still unexplored. Due to this, many parts of the city with historical importance are a victim of human negligence. Sarais are being one of them. These sarais were inhabited by locals and engulfed them into the nearby village settlements. So we have taken the case of this urban village called Kalu Sarai in the vicinity of today's Hauskas metro station, which has the potential to become a tourist destination. Before moving to the urban village itself, we have to understand what a sarai is. Sarais or caravanserais were large resting spaces enclosing a courtyard and used to provide accommodation to the caravans or the travelers passing through these historical routes. These sarais or caravanserais predominantly came into existence along the inland routes of Silk Roads, which provided the traveling merchants and their caravans with houses or hostels for good food, safe place for night accommodation. These sarais also provided these merchants to exchange goods and trade with locals, which boosted the economy of that place and promoted the exchange of culture, languages, and ideas. So, the building design of these sarais also reflected their protective purpose. These buildings were often built in the periphery of the nearest town or village, and they were encircled by immense walls resembling those of a fort. We can refer figure 1 for the typical plan of a sarai. Here we can see the courtyard and the entrance and the rooms around that. Now let's talk about the sarais of Delhi. You might have been wondering why some of these urban villages of South Delhi are called so and so sarai. We tried to find that answer for this question, and closest we could get was that these sarais were started to came into existence during the Sultanate period and later followed this trend during its future rulers like Mughals and some part of Sher Shah Suri's tenure. Uh, and the obvious purpose to provide these spaces were to provide night stay facilities to travelers. Some of these sarais were named after Sufi saints, and others like Lado, Beir, Katwaria, and Kalu Sarai have some folklore which can't be justified with historical facts and numbers but are worth mentioning in this presentation. Some old inhabitants say that these sarais were named after five sisters who got married and lived in close vicinity of each other, and this can be corroborated from their geographical location. They were Lado Sarai, Beir Sarai, Jia Sarai, Katwari Sarai, and Kalu Sarai. Somehow, Kalo got tweaked and got its name Kalu. So Kalu Sarai, Katwaria Sarai, Beir Sarai, Jia Sarai are in the vicinity, and we can, if we have looked closely in the map of Delhi, we can see that these 4 or 5 sister sarais are literally touching each other if we could remove the IIT. So these all are in the periphery of IIT Delhi campus. So these are that much close to each other. So let's move to the next part of the presentation, which is finding the footprint of Kalu Sarai. And to achieve that, some historical texts were studied in initial stages of this research. It came to our understanding that this area was developed by Tughlaq era minister called Jahan Junan Shah. Begumpuri Masjid probably served as the principal Friday mosque during the reign of Muhammad Tughlaq. During 18th century, some vulnerable communities moved inside the Begumpuri mosque and a village was sprung up due to that. And it was also mentioned in some historical texts that this village was later cleared off by the ASI of India in 1920s. Similarly, Masjid Kalu Sarai, we can see this figure here. So Masjid Kalu Sarai was also under Junan Shah, but is now in ruins. A small part of the mosque exists, which is also in a dilapidated condition, remnants of which include a few arches that were identified as a part of Hammam of the mosque. This image represents this at Hammam. After that, this area faced the negligence of authorities, which encouraged about half a dozen families to settle in the mosque. So this is the, you can easily identify that this is already inhabited by some families or some residents, because the clothes are drying there. So after that, so when we visited this place, so they said that they have been living there for many years. Some of them said that we are living here from 1947 or so, and they claim that this is not a masjid. This is our tradition, their families' residential or their ancestral property. Uh, According to a newspaper, families from different regions, including Rajasthan and Punjab, have been living here for decades. And most of the families which are from Punjab are mostly the Sikh migrants or the Punjabi migrants from the Pakistan. They came here post independence. Uh, Next, we try to find the footprint of Kalu Sarai using historical and current maps. So let's move to this map. So we try to find the footprint of Kalu Sarai using historical and current maps. We couldn't find the existence of Kalu Sarai in 1807 map, but we can see this arrow. This arrow represents that this is the area where Kalu Sarai was. We can see this Shahpur Jat is there, this Dargah is there, this Begumpur is there. So the Vijay Mandal and the Begumpuri Mosque and the Dargah was there, but there is no existence in this map of Kalu Sarai. So we assume that the genesis of this village might have came after 1807, but we also found that a map of 1947, and then this map which is provided by Delhi State Archives, there is a mention of Kalu Sarai. So I have marked this boundary. This triangular boundary is the administrative boundary of Kalu Sarai in 1947 map. This administrative boundary also encompasses the agricultural land of Kalu Sarai village. The Begumpuri Mosque and Vijay Mandal, spelled as Badi Mandal, was present on the southeastern corner of the market area. So this is the southeast corner. So there we have the Begumpuri Mosque, and this is the Badi Mandal or Vijay Mandal. So we have speculated that the village Kalu Sarai as an urban village came into existence in between 1807 and 1947, but the historical presence of monuments was confirmed from historical texts and the maps of 1807 and 1947. So the Begumpuri Mosque and the Vijay Mandal, which are there, we will talk about those later also. So these important monuments came here before the existence of this Kalu Sarai village. The next step was to overlap. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to find the footprint of Kalu Sarai in today's context. So the next step was to overlap these old maps onto the Google Earth imagery, and we can see the transformation in of this area. So we can check this image, figure 6. The demarcated area from 1947 to 55 map is now divided into two parts due to the addition of outer ring node. So Outer Ring Road came after independence, and the urban village of Kalu Sarai and its historical monuments are still located in the southeastern part of this area. Sorry. So after finding the footprint, the value assessment of the Kalu Sarai is done on the basis of presence of various heritage monuments or structures in and around the urban village. The important monuments which possesses some historical values as well as tourism potential were found to be the, let's move on, were found to be these. I've not mentioned the name here, but I'll talk about these. So first is Vijay Mandal. So this image below my video, this image represents the Vijay Mandal, and this site or the boundary represents the location of Vijay Mandal. This is built by Tughlaqs, and this is in rubble masonry, built in rubble masonry. Uh, next we have this Sufi Hassan Tahir's tomb, which is also located near the entrance of Vijay Mandal. So these two monuments are in this space. Next is we have Begumpur Mosque. Begumpur Mosque, which is like a twin in size to the Jama Masjid of Delhi. This is like a twin brother or twin sister to the Masjid of Jama Masjid of Old Delhi, but we can see the difference of the uh, this these this masjid, because this is not restored or this is not conserved, but Jama Masjid is well utilized and well conserved. So we can see the drastic difference between these two. The next is we have Kalu Sarai Masjid. So Kalu Sarai Masjid is this. So Kalu Sarai Masjid is in this heart of this Kalu Sarai village. And I have already talked about this Kalu Sarai Masjid. This is the photograph which we could get could capture in that moment, and because some people started to say that why are you taking pictures, and so we have to really move on from that. The next is the Kalu Sarai Gurdwara, which is this, and this is also in the heart of Kalu Sarai. So this is this Gurdwara represents that they are the coexistence of different religions and different migrants from Pakistan, which are Sikh migrants and the Hindu Punjabi migrants from Pakistan who constructed this post independence or the initial 1947 to 50. But the image which we are seeing is looking like it's a modern building, because the facade is treated recently. We don't have the data about that. When was it uh, renovated? So, but it's pretty old as compared to different structures. And the next is this Sri Aurobindo Ashram. This is the Sri Aurobindo Ashram. This site is already catering a huge influx of visitors who are the followers of Sri Aurobindo. This site was started in 1956 with the motto to make yoga part of everyone's life. And the last but not least is the coaching centers of Kalu Sarai. This image represents the first view if we enter the Kalu Sarai village and from the main outer ring road. This is the first image which you get to see of Kalu Sarai. These are those huge number of coaching centers are there. These coaching centers provide education as well as cheap residential accommodation to these students who are preparing for various competitive exams. However, everything looks haphazard and unplanned here. Certain amendments in the planning of this area can lead to its massive regeneration. So after that, we have prepared a SWOT analysis of for the Kalu Sarai for our study, and on the basis of this SWOT analysis, we have concluded that this village have a huge presence of historical monuments as well as tourism magnets. This also helped us in realizing its true tourism potential, which can be beneficial in achieving its economic, socio-cultural, physical, and environmental regeneration. And to achieve this type of regeneration, we have to prepare a sustainable tourism plan so that it can become the true image of Sarais of past, which are Sarai represented in past. So this can become the true image, or this can achieve that potential of a Sarai. but we have to prepare a sustainable tourism plan. The main objectives for preparing tourism development plan would be to provide tourists with a wide range of knowledge-based experiences. The plan will focus on promoting and informing visitors about the Sarai as the tales of its glorious past are lost in the ruins of important historical structures as of now. The plan will be such that it ensures the opening of more job-related opportunities for the local young people. Also, the security system needs to be improved a lot to mitigate the vandalism and encroachment which is seen everywhere on the site. This sustainable tourism plan has to be inclusive in all respects so that stakeholder participation is given due importance in that plan, and focus should be on facilitating the communication between the local community and the administration staff of the site. So I'm concluding this presentation here. That's it from our side. I would like to thank uh, our faculty which guided us, architect Sumi Chatterjee, in 2017, because this was a project undertaken during our postgraduate course. And also we would like to thank our group mates which helped us during this helped us in writing this paper and conducting these studies. I'd like to thank architect Adarsh Singh, architect Akshar Rafi, Sana Herar, Sneha Manga for their support. And thank you once again to provide us this wonderful opportunity. Now I'm concluding it. So thank you.